All right, good evening and hello everyone and welcome to P Cloudy's webinar on Elevate App Usability with Visual AI, how to boost your digital experiences. My name is Dinakar and I'll be the host for today. Before we get started, I would like to go over a few housekeeping rules. If you may have noticed, your line is currently muted. However, you can submit your questions during the webinar using the Q&A option given below. We will answer your questions as part of the Q&A section at the end of the webinar. Please note that this webinar is being recorded and we will send out the link of the recording to watch again, or you can share with your colleagues later. With that said, let me introduce the speaker for today, Shoaib Ahmed. Shoaib is a senior manager of pre-sales at pCloudy. He has over 13 plus years of experience in the IT industry. Started his career at Micro Focus as a pre-sales consultant for application delivery management portfolio. He catered to different technologies such as DevOps, automation, performance, cloud, and mobility. So without further ado, let me hand it to our speaker today, Shoaib Ahmed. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Dinakar, for the warm welcome. And hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. All right. So today's webinar is more on the focused on the app usability with the visual AIs and how to boost the digital experience in general. So here is the agenda. So we will understand what app usability is all about, and we'll understand what all the various different challenges that can comes in with app usability right, in terms for both mobile as well as on the web application side. And then we will also try to focus around what is the need of the visual app testing, what is the need and what are its importance, and then how QLens can really help in this visual app testing journey. All right, and then followed by a few real world applications, some scenarios. We will talk about some of the complex scenarios, how they can be automated, and as well as identify the visual bugs. And then we'll have a quick demo that will provide you a quick overview about how visual testing really works and how QLens is incorporated within pCloudy's platform that can help you in terms of the visual app testing standpoint. And then finally, we will have a Q&A session. All right. So if there are any questions, I mean, as Dinakar mentioned, feel free to post your queries in the chat option. So we will be happy to take this at the end of this presentation and of course the demo, and we'll try to answer to all your queries. All right. With that, let's get started. So let's try to understand what app usability is all about. All right. So in today's time, where we see the adoption of digital apps across everywhere, the use of mobile application has been drastically gone really high, where the expectations of the users has gone really high in terms of the usabilities, right? How easy and effective it is from the interaction standpoint, right, to help achieve their goals. So across various different domains, right? So when we talk about app usability in particular, what are the expectations of the user that they are looking at, right? When it comes to from the designing standpoint, users expect the application to be very much intuitive design so that it's pretty easy to access, and and the look and feel of the application is pretty much as per the based on the user needs. That's something where we have seen a drastic need. And then not just that, even the navigation. All right, so when we get inside the application, the navigation should be such that the application from the starting from the launching the application to performing login operations, and then getting inside the application, performing various different transactions. So there is an expectations of having a smooth navigation across various different applications, be it any complex apps or even a simplest of app. Even if you take an example of any e-commerce application, right? So where we get inside the application and try to add a product into a cart and then do all the payment and stuff, and then order the product, right? So the user journey has to be seamless without any issues, and then further, all right, without any error while accessing the application. So that's something where the expectations of the user is from where the application is completely error free. And not just that, also visual consistency. So making sure the application is visually consistent across all the different pages within the applications. So there is a huge expectations from the user group as we live in the digital environment, right, where every day-to-day needs is filled with applications. So we'll have a quick poll around this. We'll try to understand the from the user group, right? And yeah, can we have the first poll of this webinar, please? All right. So here's the first poll. So the question is, what are some challenges you face with app usability testing? Right. So you can choose a single choice here. So either it's compatibility with devices or UI comparison accuracy, time consuming as well with in terms of manual or all of the above. So you can choose. We'll give it few more seconds. All right. So I have got the responses. I see it's a mix of all the options, but more towards all of the above. So that means it's towards compatibility as well as the UI comparison, and also where we talk about the time consuming the to check the UI is manual currently, right? So that's something which is interesting point. So thanks for your responses. So let's get into action and try to understand the what are all the different challenges that we see in today's from the app usability standpoint. So as we discussed from the app usability standpoint, right, the expectations from the user has been greatly increased, right, in terms of design or maybe in terms of ease of access, also a flawless experience across end to end of an application. So that's something which is really there. So we have to make sure that the application has to be developed in such a way that it does not have any issues, from the application standpoint. So the user experience is predominantly high in terms of design, in terms of seamless flow, and so on. And so that's something which is one of the challenges in today's time, because we have seen drastic releases of applications. So the release cycle has been very much shortened. So there are more and more number of applications that are being released. So how are we going to cope up with these challenges? So that's something which we have to identify a solution. And then there are frequent updates, and also there are free feature additions. That's something which gets added to the applications. So there are vast number of devices. The fragmentation is devices is so huge. I know that adds to more number of update that it comes through. It can be updates in terms of the operating system update. It can be from the UI side, or even it can be from the feature addition side. That's again, that comes from the app usability standpoint. And it's not just focused on one particular device, right? So as I mentioned, the device fragmentation is purely high, and also making sure that it covers across all the digital touch points, multiple digital touch points, not just for mobile but even for web application. So the same application is available for both web as well as mobile applications. So again, there is a huge combination of devices, the OSs, the OS versions, the screen sizes, different screen resolutions, and so on. So this is also one of the biggest challenge that we see in today's time, making sure the app is compatible and also usable across all of these different digital touchpoints. And finally, manual testing limitations, identifying any issues, any smaller change within the application can be a very daunting task, right? So even a small color change or a text change or even any element change, so that's something which always been a worry, and there is a high chances of missing these defects while the tester is testing the application from the manual testing standpoint, right? So here is one complex user scenario, and which we have just identified it. Um, and if you look at it at every state, at every stage, there is a complex scenario that comes into picture, starting from authenticating the application via biometrics. There has been different mechanism again for verification. It could be the biometrics or even through Face ID, and then follows through with different performing different actions, checking the transactions of the applications, or wherein the synchronization is come into play. That's something which we have to check. And then of course various different transactions, and then followed by could be involving a third party services API. So the applications are now inbuilt and integrated with different third party services, right? So where the applications interact with different third parties. So that's something which we have to make sure the application flows seamlessly without any issues. And then followed by downloading a receipt. It can be a sensitive data which it receives. And then followed by coming out of the app, right, where we have to make sure the app is predominantly protected in terms of data. And this is just one generic complex user journey that we are referring here. So it applies across all of the each of the different stages. We will see various different complex scenarios. So how are we making sure that we test each and everything, right? So at every complex scenarios, we will have multiple options, multiple buttons, the colors, the color of the application, the buttons and the text can be different altogether. So making sure the application is tested across all of these points can be really a time consuming effort, have we not automate, or have we if we don't have such solution, right? It takes, and that will again take a toss in terms of it will have a huge impact on my release cycles. And also the application may have different challenges in terms of the errors that are found in the production may not be good for the organization itself or for the business will have a huge impact on it. The user experience will certainly go for a toss, and so the ratings on the Play Store and the App Store as well. So we have to make sure across the user journey of an application, right, starting from even launching the application to verifying various different functionalities within the app, and then so make sure the user experience is pretty seamless across all of these different stages. So what is the need here of visual testing? So let's try to understand them in detail, right? So visual testing, basically, if you look at it, it uses the advanced AI-driven image comparison techniques, to detect the visual differences between the expected and the actual app interfaces. So by automating the comparison process, uh, you know we can really enhance the visual AI engine, so that can make sure we maintain and identify the bugs very early in the life cycle, plus maintaining the brand consistency. So that's something which is very important in today's time, where we see a lot of applications across our lives in today's time, right? So maintaining the brand consistency is something which is very important, and also which end of the day which help improve user confidence, the end user confidence. So that's something, that's something which we are expecting from the visual testing standpoint. So if you look at it, before I get into the QLens, maybe we'll just try to understand a little bit more about from the user group standpoint. What do you guys think? So here is our second poll for the day. So what are all the challenges that you face in incorporating visual testing? Is it from the solution standpoint, you see no other solution, too many configurations, or visual testing is something time consuming? So you can just go ahead and answer your questions. Yeah, I can see responses coming in. Few more seconds. All right. So I see most of the answers are going towards visual testing is something which is time consuming. All right. So I've got highest more than 70% of it, right? And then rest, it's a combination of both no available tools and also too many configurations. Fair enough. So that helps in really in understanding what is the real challenge that we are currently seeing in the testing life cycle. So let's move on and talk about how QLens can help achieve the app usability. right? So as I mentioned, so visual testing, peak load's visual testing has been incorporated with AI driven image comparison techniques that detects the visual differences between the expected and as well as the actual app interfaces. So we can automate the comparison process, and so with that, peak cloud's QLens enhances the visual engine, and which can quickly identify the defects, right? It not just identifies the defect, but also even the most subtle inconsistencies that human testers might miss, so while they are testing. So I mentioned few examples like a color change or a text. It can be a small text that is missing in the screen, or it can be even the elements, or even the images, right, or misalignment. So all these are being able to identified by QLens. And so if you look at it on the standard, there are some standard visual testing tools that are available, but they lack in the intelligence of differentiating meaningful changes, right? That's for something which is for the consequential ones, and that will again result in a lot of manual intervention. So pcloud is QLens is something which you can look for, where we have instant visual comparison that can quickly help you compare the images and spot the differences instantly. And you also have a process of streamlining the approval approach, where you can have a interface on the UI side where you can go ahead and then approve these changes, and any dynamic did change detection. So it not just captures the static, but even the dynamic changes that comes across. So it is intelligent enough to understand the change, and then it captures and provide you as an evidence in terms of a screenshot and identifying it by comparing it with the baseline images. So what this gives is, it overall reduces the manual maintenance, right? So while I'm performing my regular regression automation test, I can just incorporate certain capabilities within my automation script, and then I can quickly identify if there are any visual bugs as well. So a lot of time has been saved, so which can really help me in identifying any if there are any visual changes. And not just that, we this QLens can be seamlessly integrated across various different CI servers. So that's something where you can incorporate this within your CI/CD pipeline, and trigger your build to while you're triggering your automations, you can also identify any if there are any visual bugs. That's something. And the bugs that we identify through QLens is very much accurate, right? It's very much accurate. Even the small layout change is easily identified on from the QLens standpoint. So which is something which we will look at it while we are in the demo side. So I'll quickly take you guys to a quick demo in terms of showing this particular capability. Let me quickly switch the tabs. All right. All right, so I've just signed into the platform, device.pclody.com. So just for the benefit of everyone, if the users are joined for the first time and want to understand what pcloud is. So pcloud is basically it's a digital app user experience testing platform, where you can test all your different types of applications, be it from mobile application side or even from the web automation web application side, both manual as well as automation standpoint. All right, so it's a pure SaaS based product, so you can access it anywhere, anytime. So I've just signed in. It's a quick landing page. So this platform is incorporated a lot of yeah, AI features, which can quickly help you, in terms of from the automation standpoint and even from the platform standpoint. So let's get started. So I'll just quickly talk about the devices section here. So this is the device list, where you can find different set of devices across various different models, different manufacturers, different screen size resolutions, right? So there are filter options which you can use it, and we are hosted across different part of the world. In India, we have a couple of data centers, one in US and also in Singapore, and we are expanding towards Middle East and European regions as well. All right. So the users can log into the platform and acquire these devices to and get started with their functional testing, right, for both manual as well as automation testing. And similarly, as I mentioned earlier, we have a real browser instance. So when I say browser instance, these are real desktop based browser machines for both Windows as well as on Mac machines with different browsers, different OSs, different OS versions, and also locations across different parts of the world, right? So something which we support, wherein you can go ahead and then test your applications seamlessly, and we have integrations with across all the leading automation solutions, be it from the APM Selenium side, right? So that's something which is that you can incorporate your existing scripts and integrate and then execute on the Pclody platform. So now, so that's pretty much on the from the test infrastructure standpoint what we provide. And there are a lot many capabilities. I will urge you just go ahead, and then if you're new to pcloudy, just try to sign up to our web to our device.pcloudy.com, and just try to use it, so you will have a fair understanding how you can access the devices and so on. So this webinar is focused more around the visual testing side, so how visual testing can really help. So there's a detailed documentation as well in case if you want to understand how visual testing really helps. So here is that detailed documentations. What is that? What is that is required? What are the prerequisites? That is something which is needed. So all that is captured here, and along with the screenshots, right? So that's something which is there, which you can incorporate it. All right, so with that, let me quickly get into action and talk about how you can incorporate visual testing within your existing APM or Selenium framework, right? So it is not just only for mobile, but even for the web applications. So what I have done is I have incorporated this within my IDE. I'm having an Eclipse IDE here. What I'm trying to do is I have just incorporated with certain capabilities. So there are few capabilities that you can add it as part of your test. So these are those capabilities. Just provide the project name, build name, and then provide a tag. All right. And then follows all the standard capabilities that are required for you to test the application. All right. And here are different applications. So that's something which we will be testing today. All right. So the two different versions, blood bank one, and then there is one more blood bank application, two different versions. So we will see how the visual testing, which is driven through AI, is capturing the changes within the UI. So we have made some intentional changes on these builds. So we'll see how it can be done. So what I'll do is first I'll try to run the build, which I already have, and next, and then we will run it on the new build. Okay. So the capabilities are set, and this is the endpoint URL where my the APM server is hosted. So that's the initial piece where you add all the capabilities, and then as I mentioned earlier, so you just need to add a piece of a code within your existing APM script. That's it. So this is that code. So where we are trying to capture the screenshot as well. So these screenshots would be used for the identification and comparing with the differential image. Okay, so you can simply add it to your existing script, and yeah, you can keep on adding as long as the number of screenshots that you're looking at. All right, so with that, this sets, and I can now go ahead and then run this automation script to show you. So I can execute on any device. Say for example, I have a test XML, and I can simply run it. So let me quickly go to the platform once and just check if the device is available. So demonstration which I'm showing it is on the public cloud. So let me make sure that these devices are available. Okay, it is available. And now I can just go ahead and then trigger my test. This run as and trigger the test. So once I trigger the test, the execution has been begun. Okay, all right, you can see that's a console. Now what I'll do is I'll just go to the platform. In my active session, should be able to see the device coming in. Yeah, it's not yet triggered. Anytime we will see the device coming in. Okay, I think it's come. It's ongoing. Now I can also get into live view. Okay, so this live view will help me see the live execution. Right. So while the application is getting installed and what operation. So as you can see, the application has been installed. Yeah, it's just a sample app where we are trying to log in with the username and the password and then signing in. Pretty straightforward use case. All right, so that's something which is done now. Now what I will do is I'll just quickly go to the QLens report. So once the execution is completed, we will provide a QPilot QLens dashboard, so where you can see the images coming in. So whatever screenshot that it has captured will be available here. So which is something which you can view it. All right, side by side, you can monitor them as well. Okay, so the execution has been pretty much completed. There were no issues. All right, so we will just verify if the screenshots has been captured for this particular build. Okay, and then probably once this is done, we will go ahead and then execute with the new build where we have made some changes at the UI standpoint. Okay, so this is my execution. All right, so now you may see a new option altogether which is integrated as part of pCloud, right? So which is nothing but QLens. Okay, QLens report. So I have a QLens report where I can validate all my QLens sections. And at the existing, the progressive report, this is something where you have a detailed report in terms of all the test logs, the APM logs. So that's something which is there. So let's get into the QLens. And here I can see the image. So this is now integrated with my framework. Okay, so now if I see here, so it's the same application. All right, so you can see the images has been captured. Now even if I try to do the comparison, it will not, because the images are pretty much the same. All right, there is no changes because I need to run new build with the new build altogether to see if there are any differences in the UIs. Okay, so that's something which we will do it for now. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll just try to now execute with the new build. So let's go ahead and then change the build. Okay, so now what I will do is I'll just go here, change the build name, save it. And now maybe I'll just try to run it on some different device. Okay, I have already taken the device full name just for the benefit of the time. Okay, and get into my test in the XML and then change this device with another device. I can choose any other device as well. All right, so the changes have been made. Now remember, I'm now executing with my new build altogether. Okay, so new build, and yeah, let's get into action. And okay, I have saved this. Just trigger the test. Execution has been triggered. I'll just quickly go to the Lodi platform here again, just to see if the device has come. I'll just try to resize this browser so that I can see it side by side. Not yet. Try to refresh it. Okay, so the device has come. It's ongoing. I can again further get into the live view section. All right, so we have made some changes here, as you can see on this application, some intentional changes. So that also something which I will refer it. Okay, so the app got launched, and it performed the login flow, and yeah, the test case has been successfully passed. Now, if I go back to my QLens report, I'll just try to go directly to my QLens dashboard. I'll just try to refresh this page. All right, I have got it. So this is the new one, as you can see here. Now I should be able to see two different images altogether, right? So now we have made some changes, as you can see here, right? So visually we are able to identify these, right? But there are a few things sometimes while testing, there are chances that the tester might miss the UI related changes. So as I mentioned, even the minute changes within the application, it could be a text, it could be a text change, or it could be a misalignment of the logo or whatever it is, right? So as I can see, if I can just visually see through my eyes, I can see there are some changes. I can see a Twitter account here, but the Facebook icon is missing here, right? So that's something which I can see it by my eyes visually without using a solution. But now let's compare it, right? So you have a process of showing that difference. So let's go ahead and do this. So once I click on show differences, this will start highlighting it, right? So now it has identified, as I mentioned earlier, even the smallest thing, even if you look at it, because we ran on two different devices altogether, right? Altogether on different devices, it's intelligent enough to identify even the smallest change, even from the network, even if it's a small change in the battery or even in the network, even that it has identified. So I have an option of zooming out, right? So where I can see the changes that's been highlighted. The color at the background is little dark, so that's something which certainly we can sit in a different application and see the difference. So it's clearly highlighting the difference here, as you can see. And plus, if you scroll down, any changes even at the text level, it is able to identify, right? So that's something which you have got it. So this is my baseline image. So this now baseline image is now compared with the check. Okay. Now I have an approval process wherein I can decide whether if my change is applicable or I just reject it. Okay, so this will help wherein I can if I approve this, so my checkpoint will become a baseline image for my further executions, for my further automation executions. All right, so I have that approval process which I can make it here. All right, so that this checkpoint image will become a baseline image for my future runs. So we will not be having this baseline. So this check image itself will become a baseline image. So again, the process continues thereon. So again, you test it with a new build altogether. So the checkpoint image will be your baseline image, and that will be again compared. So you have this approval process in terms of from the UI interface standpoint, which can really help you uh, test your applications, right? So that's something which you can see it live. And I already ran few more runs some time back. This was mainly on the from the on the websites as well. So as I mentioned earlier, this is not only focused to mobile, but also the websites. Even the websites will be able to identify. So again, there are two different screenshots taken, baseline image along with the checkpoint image, same URL. We had some changes within the new build altogether. So if I just quickly highlight this, even a smallest minute change will be highlighted here. Right. So that's something which you can really look forward to test your application for the visual testing standpoint. So it's very accurate enough to identify even if the changes at the layout level or even at the text level or even if any color changes, any smallest things, even that is something which is highlighted here. And the good thing is you are just integrating with your existing framework. You don't have to worry about much about configuring things here. It's very simple configuration just by adding capabilities within your existing APM framework or Selenium framework. You are able to compare it, and then you can execute the scripts in real time and identify any if there are any visual bugs. So this will help in terms, again, these screenshots or visual bugs, whatever that I identified, will help in overall reducing my release times. Right, imagine if I have to perform this manually, so there are high chances of missing these visual images through manual testing, and it's a time consuming effort. For example, if I spend 5 minutes in identifying visual bug in a particular place, and imagine if my application has 20 screens, so that's something more than 100 minutes, right? So within no time, just by incorporating this with your framework, you are able to get this. So that's pretty much on the QLens side. I would request all the users who have joined this or who are listening to this, try this with your applications by integrating from the PQD standpoint, and help us understand the feedback as well. So we look forward for that. So we want you guys to try this out and come up with your feedback. All right. So it's a default feature now. It's just integrated seamlessly with PQD platform. Right. So with that, uh, I conclude. Maybe I'll just quickly go back to the presentation here. All right, so we can take up if there are any questions if you guys have. And of course, we want you to try Cloudy today. You can scan the QR code and then So this will help you take you through the website and where you can sign up and then start paying the people from standpoint. All right, so open for question answers. So let me know if there are any questions. I can take them up. All right, so I can see a few questions coming in. Just try to answer them. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'll pick a few questions. Okay, so I have a question from Siraj who says, is QLens suitable for both mobile and web apps? Yes, the answer is yes. QLens can be incorporated for both mobile and web applications. So this is something which you can incorporate it and identify your visual apps. That's something which you can do it. Yeah, the answer is yes. Hope that answers your question. And then there is one more question from Dhanalakshmi who says, can I integrate QLens with my CI/CD setup? Yeah, the answer is yes again. QLens can be integrated with any CI server. So it's a very much CI server agnostic. So we can integrate with Jenkins, TeamCity, Bamboo, Azure DevOps, and so on. So we don't have any limitations across any of these servers. So you can seamlessly integrate. The steps are defined. So we have a detailed documentation. So you can refer these documentations to know more how you can integrate it so that you can leverage the QLens and identify from the visual testing standpoint. Yeah, hope that answers your question. All right, another question from Suraj who says, can QLens identify inconsistencies in app design elements such as buttons or fonts or even screen? Yeah, as I mentioned, since it's this QLens is enriched and enhanced with an AI driven approach. It uses a lot of models that are inbuilt, right? So it has its own intelligence in identifying each and every element or even a button or even a text, as I mentioned, right? Be it across screens, even the fonts. So it's intelligent enough to identify. So anything that a human cannot do, AI will be this QLens will be able to identify those changes. So yeah. So to answer to your question, it is yes. All right, so there is one more question from Mohiddin. He says, does QLens support testing for apps with localized content or multi-language interfaces? Okay, good question here. Yeah, so it is not limited to any specific language as such. It's supported for a multi-language. So it's built, the models, on the AI side, it's built in such a way that it identifies even the different languages, right? Need not be any particular language. So it identifies all the multiple different languages. So if your apps are designed in various different languages for the localized test, for the localized usability, then this is something you can rely on. So QPilot has that intelligence. So QLens, sorry, has that intelligence of identifying the visual bugs. All right. Hope that answers your question. And then there is one more question from one of the users. It says, how does QLens handle differences in screen sizes and resolutions across devices? All right, so a good question again. I mean, so as I mentioned earlier, so you, as you might have seen in the live demo, I used two different devices. All right, so different, you may use it from different manufacturers as well, different, which will have a different screen sizes and screen resolutions altogether. So uh, it works there. So you can rely on this, but there are some limitations in terms of resolutions, right? So the resolution is something has to be the same for the applications that you're for the devices that you're going to test, right? So that's something which we are trying to overcome that as a challenge where we can test it even for a different screen resolutions, but that's something which will be coming in our upcoming releases. But for now, you will be able to test it with the same screen size resolutions. Yeah, but yeah, it can be a different model, it for different manufacturer altogether, so that there is no limitation there. So you can test across all the different device models or different OEMs altogether. All right, hope that answers your question. Right. With that, I think we have pretty much answered all of the questions. If there are any other queries which is in your mind and you could not ask, maybe please feel free to reach us out. We will be happy to help you. We can, you can reach us out on my email ID, or even you can reach out to our PCloudy team. We can help you answer any questions or anything that you wanted to know more about PCloudy. All right. So with that, uh, I conclude this webinar. As I mentioned earlier, you can go ahead and scan this QR code to help you provide access to the PCloudy platform. This will take you to a trail of the PCloudy platform, wherein you can sign up and then get started, using the PCloudy platform. All right. Thank you so much for your time again. And yeah, any questions, please feel free to reach us out. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Shoaib. You've sparked a lot of ideas. Thank you for sharing those insights and even showing the walkthrough of the how QLens works on the platform. Your presentation has covered a lot of practical insights on how to use QLens itself for app usability testing. So thank you so much for that. We also want to thank each one of our participants for joining the webinar. We're sure that some of these ideas have sparked a few things in your mind to think over and implement. So like Shoaib mentioned, please do feel free to reach out to us with any questions. Write to us at info@pcloudy.com, or simply go on the website and click on the chat option and just leave us a message and we'll get right with you. Great. Thank you once again for being an engaging audience, and a very happy Thanksgiving to each one of you. Good day.
Thank you so much. Good day, everyone.